So I'm going to go back to lodging. We know that everybody's different in terms of what they need in terms of amenities. Are there enough places to go where you don't have to tent camp, or are you stuck when you're doing overlanding? It's been our experience where we've done mostly tent camping, but we've also done Airbnbs, we've done motels and things. Is there a route that people can go that don't want a tent camp, where they can do the Airbnbs, or they can do the motels, the cabins?
Yeah, that can be done. Take Newfoundland, for example. You could go into a city everywhere you go and stay at a hotel if you want. And some people do that.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the only time I want to stay in a hotel or a cabin is to do laundry and get a shower.
Okay.
Now, and realistically, if we could carry enough food, we could go longer on the trail. And food is another thing that we'll get to here next. But, you take Newfoundland or Idaho. Idaho's a better example for all this. But we had to go into towns because we just didn't have the space to carry food for all those guys for more than 3 days. Now you can think of creative ways, and we have. Idaho, we tried some Patriot meals, MREs, which they were fine. I liked it, but is that something we want to do all the time? I would say no. I would rather go into town and get fresh. I have burgers or steaks or whatever.
But I would say, I think it's something we should carry all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
in case you get stranded.
In case you get stranded, they came in really.
Well, the MREs, when we were in Newfoundland, and we spent the night at Serpentine Lake, we could have probably got by with boiling up some water and making the MREs as opposed to having the muffins.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't start a fire. It was too windy.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad idea to carry some MREs, or
even if you don't plan on eating them.
Yeah.
It's not about what you plan on doing sometimes.
So the next thing I wanted to talk about is like an offshoot. We kind of started this, but offshoot of the planning stage is food, water, supplies. So when I sit down and think of a trip, planning a trip, you have to factor, like, is anybody carrying something other than a cooler? So the reason I say that, if you take a cooler's only going to keep ice for so many days, depending on the cooler, and you should know that ahead of time. Climate has something to do with that. If it's really, really hot, your cooler may not keep ice for more than 2 days or 1 day or 3 days, whatever. So you got to figure that in. Luckily, Keith has outfitted his machine. He's got a 4-seat General where he carries a 12-volt fridge freezer. So we would carry coolers and keep stuff on ice, maybe drinks or snacks or some food that we were going to eat, along the trail. The stuff that we wanted to keep for the multiple days, Keith would keep in his cooler, the plug-in cooler. And it seemed to work. So that had to go into the planning, and that helped me decide, okay, how many days can we go before we have to go to civilization and resupply? Water's another thing. You can guess how much water each person's going to drink, but you don't know that until you get on the trail. What I drink at home water-wise may be completely different than what I drink on the trail.
Heat, dust,
all
that stuff plays into it.
What you eat,
right?
If you get, a mild, maybe a stomach ache or whatever, or you get diarrhea, which happens on the trail, or you throw up or something because of whatever, water maybe go up, maybe reduced. And, that went into, okay, if we carry this much water, what happens if we run out of water? How do we get water? So part of my planning is we find places that are bodies of water, streams, creeks, lakes, where we stop. And I think you guys all carry them too, don't you? Some kind of Sawyer or Life Straw or...
I don't have a Life Straw.
I carry a couple of those to treat water. So if we ran out of bottled water or jugged water, or whatever we're carrying, we were able to get, and I'm big on, I like waterfalls, I like creeks, I like rivers, lakes. I like, we've camped on lakes, I know every night but one, we were near a river or a creek, every night, which was cool. So again, that goes into the planning. What Wayne said about the food part, the MREs, and we've learned. I think the one place in Newfoundland, Serpentine Lake, where we couldn't cook, we ate cinnamon rolls for dinner, and granola bars. I think.
So we'd start to get muffins.
Yeah, they were little mini muffins or something.
Yeah.
So, that was fine. And then we had to again tow Chris's machine, but. So all that goes into the planning, and then once I get here's where we're going to go, here's the number of days it's going to take, here's the cost of everything, here's the spots we're going to stop, resupply, catch a shower, maybe do laundry, then guys can start packing what they need. So, okay, I'm going to go 3 days without doing laundry. These are the clothes I need to take. Here's the climate we're going into. Here's the temperatures. The temperatures for the last 5 years, or the history of the monthly temperatures in this area of the country you're going to, and what to expect. What's the worst temperature they've ever experienced on the time that we're going? Idaho, for example, I knew going in that we would have hot days, the possibility of hot days. Not all of them were hot, but there was 80, almost 90 days, and then it got down into the 30s at nighttime. One day it was like 70. And it got down to low 20s one night. So we knew that going in, and we all packed to accommodate for that. And we were ready for that. But that all goes into the planning, and if you don't do that, you're going to fail. And, depending on where you are, failing is not a very good option. That goes into the planning part, the food, the water, the supplies, all part of it. And like I said, it's my doing to start with, but I can't do it alone. I put what I think we're going to need, and I give it to these guys, and then we talk about it. And these guys probably get tired of me talking about it, but
no, we usually send out a list of here's what,
and
who's got what, and we all mark off on the list. We check boxes. I've got this. I've got that. And then we go through that list 2 or 3 times as we're leading up to the week, so we know who's got what.
Yeah.
So what kind of stuff do we pack in terms of equipment on our machines?
Okay, so let's talk about mechanical stuff first.
For the repairs on the machine and stuff like that?
For the machines.
All right.
So go ahead, Wayne. We'll just go around and just name stuff that we carry.
So I have a Pelican case, waterproof Pelican case that I keep, drill and impact, some other minor hand tools. I've got a tool roll that I have wrenches and sockets and stuff like that in. Believe it or not, towels. And this is no plug necessarily for Walmart, but Walmart sells lint-free microcloth towels that come in like a roll, and you can just rip one off and use it. Those come in really handy. I carry, in that same pack, I carry some wipes, because you never know, you might need to wipe off your hands, whatever. Couple rolls of toilet paper.
Anything else mechanical that you want to add to that?
So I like Wayne, I carry a tool roll. I also carry since we don't carry a spare tire, I carry the sidewall slug, the plugs, and a mini compressor. Different type of plug as well now.
Now, the reason we don't carry spares, at least for my sake, the reason I don't carry a spare is, number one, it takes up too much space. And when you're packed down for a trip with all the things that we carry, and go back and look at our Idaho videos, how much gas we had to carry, equipment we had to carry. I didn't feel it was necessary. I got beadlocks on mine, So if emergency, we can run that thing on the bead, the tire, and forever to get back to where civilization to get it fixed. But go ahead. I mean,
Well, one of the things that you carry now too is extra nuts and bolts for your
Yep.
machine. Fuses,
coolant. I always carry coolant. I carry the foam filter. Something to clean the windshields with.
Duct tape.
oh,
Duct tape. Yeah.
Duct tape.
a pressure washer bottle, or
Yep.
what do you call it?
Spray
Pump
bottle.
sprayer, pump sprayer.
That serves for cleaning radiators out and cleaning windshields off.
A lot of guys carry extra axles.
Yeah, that's something I thought about, or just an axle puller.
Mm-hmm.
We can take tires off and stuff like that, but get an axle out, and you watch these guys. If you break an axle, if you get the axle out, you can still operate the machine.
Mm-hmm.
3-wheel drive or 2-wheel drive or whatever. You can still get somewhere. I've often thought about, they make a sleeve that goes over the tie rods.
Mm-hmm.
You see broken tie rods. But I think the places we've gone, we shy away from doing technical stuff that would break equipment. And I'm not saying we couldn't break equipment, because you could easily, but we don't. It's not like trail riding where you're going to do technical stuff and with the possibility of breaking a machine, just because of where we're at. But those are two things that I thought about adding. So next, gear. What do you take for gear? Not stuff for the machine, but
Yeah.
your personal gear.
A first aid kit like you that includes the tourniquets and the epinephrine, the anything that I would need medically, mostly for me. I mean, it can be used for other people, but I thought about what I would need first. I carry some type of lubricant. Wayne, it's not that.
You gotta explain it differently than that.
A WD-40 or something like that,
Yeah.
for squeaks and things like that. And for blowing up the tires,
Yeah.
right?
If you're with Jerry L's, you need a sunscreen.
Yeah. I carry towels like Wayne does. I have in the past carried my pressure washer, but I don't do that anymore. It takes up too much space, and I figure the pump sprayer is not as effective, but it takes up less space, and then I don't have to worry about spare batteries and things like that. I do carry sunscreen. I carry off bug spray, that kind of thing in my trunk. I carry, whether it's winter or summer, I carry spare gloves and hats.
So one of the things I take that wasn't mentioned, you said bug spray, but I'm not a big fan of DEET. My skin does not like DEET.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a big Sawyer products.
Yeah.
The water filter system through Sawyer. Tick spray.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on where we go. I've known people that got bit by ticks and got sick from it. So tick spray, I spray all my gear down ahead of time, whether I'm going to a tick area or not. I don't know where. I don't think there's any place we haven't gone that doesn't have ticks of some sort. So I spray tents, clothing, all my gear that's exposed. Sawyer also makes permethrin. I can't say it, but it's a spray that doesn't have DEET in it, but it's good for guys with sensitive skin like me, sensitive person like me. But I carry that stuff, and it wasn't touched on, but clothing. So I'll go to clothing. So I look at the trip based on, and I probably have every trip I've taken too much clothing, but not to the point where I was worried about how I packed it. But I take at least, if we're going to go 3 days, I take 5 days worth of clothing. So what that means is socks and underwear. It sounds stupid, but you got to keep your feet clean, especially if they get wet. You got to be able to change and if anything's going to get wet, I got rain gear, But if I get into a creek or a lake or a puddle or whatever, get my feet wet, I treat my boots. I got good boots, but you never know. You get your feet wet, you gotta prepare for socks. I could get by with this with 1 or 2 pairs of pants, riding pants. What I tend to do now is I got a pair for cold weather or colder temperatures, and then I got a pair for hot temperatures. I don't typically like to wear shorts when we do stuff, only because that exposes my skin to sunburn or all the other things that could cause me problems. You know, I'm fair skinned, mosquitoes, whatever. You know, if I treat my clothes and they're thin enough, and the thin pants that I wear, they're called Dry on the Fly. They're from Duluth, not to plug Duluth, but they're excellent pants. I get them wet or they get into the rain, they dry instantly. And it doesn't have to be sunny. It's just the material they're made of, they dry pretty quickly, as opposed to trying to dry something in a tent, you know, when it's raining out or whatever. Good rain gear.
One of the things that I carry too on the longer trips is the solar generator.
Yep.
For charging camera batteries, for
Yep.
blowing up air mattresses, for running power, for making coffee.
Oh, coffee. Jet boil.
Yeah,
You've got to have a jet boil. Hey, not done yet, adventurers. Wayne here. If you enjoy our content, please slap a little mud on that subscribe button and help us out.